Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's really cold in London today, and the tubes, most of the tube stations, they're on strike. I don't know what they're striking. There's trouble all over the world. God help us. Well, how has your day been? Hope everything has been okay with you. How is business? How is life? How are the children? Um, Now we're good to go. I love green. Green, green they say is for fertility, reproduction, and everything. So green is and everything good. So we hope that in this month of March, everything in our life, every dead area of our life will come to life in the mighty name of Jesus. So let's do this. So now, if you are a single mother, or maybe you are a woman who has had children or a child in your previous relationship, maybe when you were younger or something, and then before you got married, you need to watch this video to the end. Watch this video to the end. Share. Call your friends to watch with you. Tell your friends about this. This is an eye opener. One of the things we do on this platform is to empower people to because we deal with true life circumstances, true life events, true life stories that touch the heart, stories that people will also learn from so that they don't become victims in the future, so to say. Well, one thing about life is if you don't try as much as possible to learn one or two things from other people's bad experiences, you may one day become a victim also, and then people who are smarter than you perhaps will learn from your own mistakes. I pray that will not be your portion. So now, as you can see clearly, the topic is just a minute. Let me see. See, still trying to get used to. I'm not a right. So where was I? So the topic for today is obviously we're going to tell the story of Nyasha. Um, Nyasha is a child, a girl child who was born out of wedlock and living with the mother, and then you know how it is. The mother juggling between jobs, trying to survive, and of course also trying to find love. There's nothing wrong in a woman who obviously wants to get married or wants to get hooked to a good man. But a lot of times, as women, sometimes we keep a blind eye to a whole lot of things, even when we see the red flags. You see, so in this case of Nyasha's mom, all the red flags were there. She she knew, she saw some of the things that this supposed husband was doing. um he had that flirtatious tendencies, and but she kept a blind eye, thinking that by the time she got married to him, he was going to change. Women never ever think that you can change a man. Men also never ever think you can change a woman. What you see during courtship is definitely what, in fact, with men, is actually going to get worse, because at the end of the day, if his mom couldn't change him, you are not his mom. I don't think you're able to. Let's say, for example, somebody is a smoker, and you think after getting married to him, you are going to be able to stop him from smoking. You must be, except he decides on his own to stop smoking. You can't stop him. The same thing applies to men who are promiscuous, men who have these promiscuous tendencies. You can't change a philandering man. You cannot change it, no matter how much you nag. No, as a matter of fact, the more you are nagging, the more the man is actually saying that you are a nagging wife, and he will actually use that as an excuse to run away from you, because he wants to justify his actions. Um, That's for the one that has a little bit of conscience or the fear of God. So because he wants to justify his actions, he will try as much as possible to look for something to hold on to so that he can justify the reason why he finally abandoned you or left you. He would not originally tell any third parties that it's because he was cheating on you. That's why obviously you kept on nagging and you became very kind of uncontrollable. Maybe you are kind of letting out your anger, your emotion, which is somehow there's really nothing. Nobody wants to be cheated upon. You see. So now, if you are going out with a philandering man during courtship, and especially if you have children from previous relationship, you have to be extremely very careful. A lot of the children who have been sexually molested and defiled, most of their abusers are well known to them. It is very in rare cases, maybe it's 30% of the time that strangers actually abuse people. Maybe they're walking down the alleyway, walking down to the train station or something, and then they or walking down a footpath, a lonely footpath, and then obviously got a random pedophile to now obviously pounce on them or something like that. Most of the times, 80% of the times, as a matter of fact, not even 70%, 80% of the times, most of the abusers most of the victims of sexual abuse who are children, they know who the abusers are. Mostly the abusers are either from their stepfathers, from their dads, their biological fathers, from their siblings, their cousins, their nephews, their neighbors. Sometimes you see women, sometimes you see like in a whole flat, people are sharing, maybe sharing it like it's obtainable here in the UK. Maybe people are just trying to kind of cut down costs and they have neighbors who they share maybe a 4 bedroom flat or a 3 bedroom flat with. Sometimes even by child minders, you have to be careful who you leave your children with. If you have a child minder and the child minder has a partner or a husband, you need to be sure that um, that childminder's husband, she needs to show you the criminal records of that husband, and you have to also to be quite honest, I would say most of the times it is better you get a childminder who doesn't have a husband. But if you are so desperate and you want to do that, make sure you check out for the criminal records. Let the CRB checks, the checks the DBS, they call it now. Make sure you get a copy of the DBS check, or they provide you with a copy of the DBS report of that every male adult in the childminder's home. It's very important. The moment they know you are aware of that, as a matter of fact, they become even extra careful. I heard of a story. Somebody actually told me of a story. This is a different story of a Nigerian family who obviously they had this English childminder who was married, and they were always taking their daughter there to drop her, and then they'll go to work. On that fateful day, they parked the car to come in to pick up their daughter, and it will appear the husband came came down, obviously packed, and the wife was trying to get the other kids to come down. I think over the years they had become friends, they had become close to this family because they had been taking care of their daughter for a long time, and they became close. So sometimes when they come in, they just have chit chats for maybe 10, 15 minutes before going for the day. So on that particular day, the husband got in before. I don't know what happened. It said that maybe the door was opened or something. The wife of this man, who is the childminder, I think she was in around the kitchen area. So the father of this child came in. Lo and behold, I think under the stairway or something like that, or in a box room, this childminder's husband was busy defiling this child. So it was like an instant. It was like a shock because the father of this child, he couldn't believe he couldn't believe it. So he immediately rushed to this man, gave him, punched him constantly on his head, and then the guy slumped and he kept on kicking and punching. And it was obviously when he fell down, of course, the wife now had I think the wife was in the kitchen. She now had rushed out and saw where this man was kicking and punching. The wife was screaming. At this time, the wife of this guy also, she had come in from with the other children from outside, and it was messy. Honestly, it was messy. It was like a free for all fight. Um, and the police were the man was in a coma. The police were, of course, called in because it's a GBH. He took the laws into his hands and all of that. But I wonder what every father would have done at that stage, seeing somebody a family that you confided, that you trusted, and you left your little daughter, and they have their own children. That's the extent that some people can actually not discipline or control their male organ. So the police were called. They arrested this man, and they arrested him. And at the time, this offender, he was in a coma because he had a brain injury, so he was in a coma. They were trying to do everything to keep him alive and everything, but unfortunately, he died. Unfortunately, he died. You see, so well, that's a story for another day because what happened? I think the man, the offender, he was released on bail and he absconded till date, something like that, you know. But this is a true life. This story, it's happened here in the UK. Now, talking about um, sexual immorality and the dangers that we expose our children to, our innocent children to, especially when the offender lives with you in the house. So this is the story of Nyasha. Nyasha's mom was a single mom, had Nyasha from a previous relationship that didn't work, a failed relationship, and they were living together. And later she met this man and they kept talking. Once in a while, he would come home and you know, just spend some hours with Yasha's mom, and gradually they started talking marriage, and they got married, and he moved in with them, and a year passed. They were happy, nothing was wrong, and then I think it was towards the third year. That's when she actually started noticing that anytime the man was actually not interested in um, sharing any form of intimacy with her anymore. Anytime she even tries to make a move, he would just say to her, I'm tired. I've been working so hard. Let's leave it till the weekend. I'm so tired. I just feel like sleeping, blah, blah, blah. And then at first she understood, like she didn't want to be kind of overbearing, and she felt that truly because he was working so hard, and in quotes, she didn't know that the working so hard was actually working so hard in her home, defiling her teenage daughter. You understand? The question now is, how can a man feel comfortable sleeping with a mother and sleeping with a daughter? That is an abomination. It is in excuse me, it is incest. It is an abomination. It is total and complete wickedness. It is unbelievable. How do you actually sleep with a daughter and a mother and then feel good about yourself, and you're moving around, people see you around, they think that you're a gentleman? How would you feel if somebody did that same thing to your own daughter? As a matter of fact, I actually think that any man who can sleep with his stepdaughter might as well obviously be able to sleep with his biological daughter. As a matter of fact, let me surprise you. This might sound a little bit, it might sound as if one is taking it a little bit too far. This is what I say to people. Any man who cannot control his male organ, any man who is a philandering boyfriend or a philandering husband, be careful, be careful. Keep an eye on that man, even when it comes to his own biological daughter. The thing is that an undisciplined male organ does not understand anything about incest or who is a biological daughter or who is not a biological daughter. Because when that demon possesses that man, he loses control. That is why you realize that most times when they are caught, they will say to you, "Is the devil." Is the devil. Can you imagine? You took your time, you thought through something, you went to sneaked into a child's room to defile the child, and you come around when you are caught and you now blame the devil. I mean, is that fair? Is that really fair? The thing is, before a man indulges in such a level of immorality, do you think about the damage? Let's even say maybe nobody nobody he ends up not being caught. Do you, as a man who indulges in such a thing, do you imagine the damage psychologically, the physical, emotional damage that you're causing that child? Do you imagine it? You're defiling a young child. One of the after effect, the child grows up to become frigid. A lot of the women who have been abused in their homes, they end up becoming frigid, and they, even when they get married, sex becomes a thing of pain to them. They now see sex as something of pain, as a thing of pain. Let me sip a cup of my coffee. I love my coffee, and of course my biscuit. So sex becomes a thing of pain to them. Please share this video. Share this video. This is a platform where we empower people with information, true life experiences, how you are protected under the law, your rights as a parent under the UK law, issues that has to do with immigration, where your right of appeal, and then if you are facing any form of deportation, all of that where we have you can actually contact me directly if you want a 15 minutes free consultation, a telephone consultation. I can just give you an advice in all of these areas. You understand? Then if you want to now instruct me subsequently, then we'll talk about it. So this platform is very rich with information. So where was I now? So well, some of the women, a lot of the women, they become frigid, and they are not even able to disclose to their parents who raped them, or to disclose even to their husband. So that's why you see sometimes the women, they can go on, even when they are married, they can go on 2, 3 years, even if the man doesn't touch them, they're even happy. Anytime the husband is coming close, they're frigid. Because sex becomes a thing of pain to them because of the memory. Because of the memory. And another way it can also affect, they now lose off form of self-worth and self-esteem. So they actually think that the only way they can be loved is by giving out their body to different men. So you now see them having multiple sex partners. You understand? So because they feel dirty, they feel they are not worthy, and all of that. And sometimes they actually blame themselves for the things that they've gone through, which is actually not supposed to be their fault. You see? So in the case of Nyasha, the mom started noticing that, I think from the second to the third year of their marriage, one excuse or the other, I wasn't interested. Not knowing that every night this man crawls into the room, into the bed of Nyasha, and was and kept on defiling this child, having sexual knowledge of her. He kept on satisfying himself. The wife did not know. This kept on, it continued like that. And the girl, the poor teenage girl, was so scared of disclosing or even discussing this abuse with her mom. Mothers, always be open to your children. Let them know that they can discuss anything with you. Let them know that they can discuss anything with you. And if you're a mother who has remarried and you have some of your children from a previous relationship, don't ever think in your life that those children, because their father is not there with you, so they are second-class citizens. Or when they try to complain to you about your husband, you now turn around and say they want to break your marriage. That is really very wrong. I can, on top of my head, actually, apart from Yasha's case, there are so many other cases. There is a case years ago of a woman who, in Barking in East London, who actually um, stabbed her husband to death. What happened in her case was that, like just like Nyasha's case, she had the daughter from a previous relationship and then married this man, and then what in the daytime she goes to work, the man will be at home, not knowing that all the times the man was at home, he was busy sleeping with the daughter, and the daughter got pregnant, and even the man joined her to try to ask the daughter, who impregnated you? You hardly go out. Who impregnated you? So the mother never suspected that it was her own husband. She refused to disclose. Apparently, he had already threatened her not to disclose. Because most times like that, the abuser will threaten the young child or the teenage child that if you ever disclose, your mom will not going to believe you. I will ask her to kick you out of the house. Or sometimes they threaten to say, if you disclose it, your mom is going to, you and your mom, I'm going to eliminate the two of you. It's our little secret. So they just keep these things to themselves. So she did not disclose to her mom, and the mom said, okay, well, she had only one child. So this grandchild, have the grandchild so that we can help you take care of the grandchild. And she had the grandchild, and they rallied round, took care of the child. When the child was about 9 months old, lo and behold, they found that the mother found out again that the daughter was pregnant. And they went again, and this man also joined the mom. Who is this invisible person that keeps coming here to impregnate you? What time do you even have to go out to meet whosoever it is that you don't want to disclose to us? Just the one you had is just 9 months old, and then lo and behold, you're pregnant again. She refused to disclose. She had a sealed lip. It could be that it was something that was agreed between her and this her stepdad or something like that. So one day, the mom was coming back from work. The husband was home. Normally he does his night shift, so he was sleeping. So she was coming back and she met a lady in the community, because in the community, I think they knew. So they were already talking about it, gossiping about it. So that woman now said to her, you see this wickedness between you and your husband. How can you allow a man who sleeps with you to also sleep with your daughter? He impregnated her this first time. Now he has impregnated her again. So this is the plan between you and your husband. Because you could not give your husband a child, now you want to replace yourself with your daughter. So this woman said, what are you talking about? What exactly are you talking about? She said, will you say you didn't know? The man you call your husband is the father, is the one who impregnated your daughter the first time. And now this second time, your daughter is pregnant again. Why are you pretending? Do you think we don't know? So something just snapped on the inside of this woman. She left that's the woman who was confronting her on the street, rushed home. The man was sleeping. She rushed straight into the kitchen, got a kitchen knife, rushed straight into the bedroom, and that was it. That was it. She went to prison in this country because she took the laws into her hands. She snapped. She snapped. She could not believe it. So there are so many other stories like this of where children are molested sexually by their stepfathers and sometimes by their biological fathers. This is why in Yasha's case, the mother now found out when she started having altercations with this husband and everything. So the Nyasha, as a matter of fact, now summoned courage when she saw every time the heated argument between her mom and the stepdad. She now summoned up courage and then told the mom the secret, how this guy sneaks into the room in the night, and then every other day, sometimes um, 6 days in a week, sometimes 5 days in a week. It even gets what, maybe if her mom travels for maybe like 2 3 days, women If you have a daughter from a previous relationship and you want to travel, I'm not saying don't trust your husband, but it would be advisable to take your daughter either alongside with whoever you are traveling to, or take your daughter to be with your sister or a cousin or somewhere until you get back. This is a good warning. Also, women, before you say I do to that man and you have a daughter from a previous relationship, shine your eyes. Know who you are getting married to. There are actually some men who are they actually know you, they've seen you and your daughter, and they are coming for you because they know that the age difference between them and your daughter, there's a huge gap. So they come for you and you think that they actually want a relationship with you. They just want to penetrate into that home so that they can get close to your young daughter to sexually abuse your daughter. So keep an eye. Be careful who you leave your children with. Be careful who you allow to be too familiar with your, especially your teenage daughters. Be careful. And let there be that closeness and bond between you and your children so that they can tell you almost everything. Discuss these issues with them. Let them also understand that it is incest. It is an abomination for a man to sleep with their stepdaughter and the mother of that same child. It's an abomination. A lot of times we just imagine that children are supposed to know these things. So that's why you see some young girls, they are sleeping with a married man because they don't see anything wrong in it, because nobody ever mentioned to them while growing up that it is wrong for them to have extramarital affairs with a married man. They don't see anything wrong in it. They don't see anything wrong even when the man leaves his wife to be with them. They actually kind of give an explanation to it to say, oh, the woman is not good enough. As the side chick, I am doing better. That's why the man chose me. They actually think it's competition between them and the man's wife, because nobody has ever mentioned to them and actually sat them down to say these are the major disadvantages of breaking a home. Children will be affected. The wife has actually suffered with the man over the years and all of that. Some of them, a lot of times, these women are crying. Nemesis and karma, the resultant effect later in life, how it's going to affect them. Nobody tells them. So they're just thinking about now. There are a lot of things we actually don't discuss with our children, and we actually automatically want them to know. How are they going to know? Even when they go to most of these churches these days, they hardly talk about all these things. People shy away from talking about these things because they don't want to come across as being offensive. They want to be politically correct most of the times. So it is your responsibility as a mother to sit your children down to discuss these things with them. Why they should not have anything to do with a married man, how they should find out whether a man is married during courtship by asking questions, you know, why it is an abomination for them to actually have any sexual affiliation with their cousins, their nephews, their uncles, and all of that. All these things needs to be discussed. Children need to be empowered. All these informations need to be given to them, not only female children, even male children, because you realize that male children also are victims of abuse. A lot of male children. I've had stories about some young teenage boys who were sent back to Africa, obviously because, to help their behavior and to structure them, and they were abused by their guardians and sometimes even in the school by their schoolmates in the boarding school. You understand? In my old time in this, when we were in boarding school, I went to a girls' boarding school in my own time. What they were calling that those sexually moral acts that were being carried out then were obviously they call them soupe. They used to call them soupe. I hope you, if you're watching, you remember if you schooled in the 80s, you attended or you were in the boarding you attended a boarding school, they used to call it soupe, where one girl goes to kind of express her love to another girl and all of that, and they now start practicing lesbianism. So these are all these bad behavioral patterns that they display even in the school that the parents actually don't know about. You see, so the thing is, nobody tells children about how to protect themselves, about how to divulge this information in case something happens. I've had cases where young boys, even in the UK here, using public toilets, that there are some pedophiles who actually go to wait for young boys in public toilets so that once they get in, they now start molesting them and they put fear into the boys not to ever divulge these things. So the thing is, if you don't discuss these things with your, even with your male children, how will they know how to protect themselves? How will they know how to scream if they're in the public toilet and somebody tries to approach them, how to scream and run away and to call the police? You understand? There have been also cases where even teachers in schools sexually abuse boys and girls also. So these are things that we need to begin to discuss with our children to empower them, to give them the information, to say to them, in case you find yourself in such a situation, what should you do? How should you protect yourself? Quickly disclose the information or the secret to you, even when they are threatening you not to say anything. Make sure that you tell your mom or your dad so that they can report it to the police. You understand? Because if this is done, it helps to actually curb this circle of sexual abuse on children, especially the ones that happen directly in their homes. So if Yasha did not have the courage, enough courage to obviously to disclose this information to her mom, that mom would have continued that thing until maybe one day she would get pregnant or something. You understand? And then it would just ruin her life completely. But even at this, as we speak, she's still accessing help, trying to get a therapy and all of that, so that she can obviously she can heal from that damage that this immoral man has caused in her life. Apparently, the mother had to call in the police, and they first of all she kicked him out. They called in the police, and he was arrested, and the matter went to court. At that time, remember, because she met him, she went all the way from to Africa to marry him. At that time, he had a spousal visa, so he didn't have indefinite leave to remain. So the moment he finished serving his prison sentence, the UK immigration services, they were right at the door of the prison, and it was picked up again by the immigration, and it was later deported. But the thing is, how many teenage daughters and sons are bold enough, like Yasha, to actually disclose these things to their mom or to their dad? Mostly to their mom. How many? Very few. Perhaps if Nyasha did not see the mom in a series of altercation with the stepdad, and then maybe she just felt that, this guy is actually a bad guy. He's been doing this to me, and look at every day, he doesn't give my mom peace and everything. Perhaps she might have actually had one of two things being said by the mom, and she thought, as a good child that she is, that this guy needs to be exposed. That was why she summoned up courage. And thank God for the mom, because some women, they will actually not listen. Like in the case of the previous story I told about that family who the husband of the childminder abused their daughter. As the case went on, they later realized that they started suspecting that it looks as if the woman actually knew what her husband was doing, that was not the first time. There are some women, because they want to keep their husbands, they actually give out, they allow they give their consent for their husband to either abuse children that they are taking care of, or to have sexual intimacy with their close friends or with their stepdaughters. They actually give their consent. I don't know why. And they make it like, oh, it's their family secrets. They just want to remain married. They don't want the man to get into trouble with the police. All kinds of excuses. All kinds of excuses. So women, like, if you're watching this particular video, and you are one of such women that you know that your husband is sleeping with your daughter from your previous relationship, and your husband is sleeping with his own biological daughter, and you've kept a sealed lip, because you want to remain in the marriage. You want to be seen in the society that you are married. You are even actually trying to protect the man. A lot of times you find out that even such women, they start blaming their daughter. They start blaming their daughter that he was, because there are some cases where the young girls, the teenage daughters, actually take additional steps to try to seduce their stepfathers. This is why it is good to empower these girls with information, to let them know that this thing that they are doing is wrong. You know, sometimes you see, as a young girl, you see a man, and because you've never had that father, that fatherly figure, and then you see that man, suddenly there's this man that has this thing with your mom, and he's living in the house. So you see, you look up to him as a role model. Before you know it, the young girls, they begin to have some kind of additional emotional ties or feelings for the man. So sometimes, even when the man is not interested, sometimes some of these girls who are immoral themselves, they take they take steps to try to seduce the man by maybe going to kind of show their nudity to the man or something like that. But even at that, it doesn't matter if a young child is making such a mistake. The father or the stepfather is supposed to correct her. But you know, men and their weakness and their weaknesses, a lot of times they're not able to stand this level of temptation. And before you know it, they now fall. Before you know it, they become the culprit. This is why, as mothers, we must empower our girls. Sit down and talk to them about this sex education. It does not necessarily have to be you telling them about body parts and all of that. Tell them, be open, have that open communication always, so that in case anything is happening to them in secret, they will be bold enough to come to you. And when they are trying to tell you these things, don't wave them up, don't shut them down. And as a parent, if you have this attitude of always shutting your children down, when they want to say something, you shut them down. When they come to you, they want to have a conversation with you, you shut them down. Such a child, when there is something secretive that they want to say to you, they just keep it to themselves. So my mom actually is not even going to listen to me anyway. My mom is not going to believe me anyway. So they just keep it to themselves. You see, so thank God in Yasha's case, the culprit was caught, and he had to, he went to prison, and he was later deported. Thank God for that, that he paid for his sins. But there are so many other cases. There are cases of, I'm talking about women who hide some of the atrocities of their husbands. Because they want to remain, because they want to be seen to be married, they want to remain married. Another case of sexual abuse on children is a case of a family where the husband would sleep with every single housemaid, every single female domestic staff that came into that household. He would sleep with them. He will not only sleep with them, he will impregnate them. His wife will cover up, send the housemaids away, take them to take them to the hospital, evacuate the pregnancy, and then send the housemaid away. She kept on doing this. And then there was a particular one, I think the fourth one or the fifth one, who refused to follow her to the hospital. She actually said to her, Oga actually said he wants to marry me as a second wife. So I'm going to have this baby. I'm not going anywhere with you to the hospital. So when she knew that this particular one was going to be a bit difficult and she did not want the scandal, she had a plan B. She started pretending, saying, no, it's true. I'm the first wife. Don't worry, you'll be the second wife. So I'm here to take care of you. You know, you don't have any experience and all of that. And then she did that over the weeks and over the months. The weeks turned into months, and the girl now obviously had confidence. Now began to trust her. Like if the girl wanted to do any house chores, she said, "No, no, 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 I don't want anything to happen to your baby. Just sit down, put your feet up. Why am I here? I'm the yellow day. I'm the main wife. My role is to take care of you now that you are in this your early stages of your pregnancy." So she now did that, and the girl now began to trust her. She had already arranged, took the girl, and then that was it. Did away with the pregnancy as she had done with the previous all the other mates, and then she sent. As a matter of fact, the other mates in their own instance, she would place them on antibiotics, and then once that dosage is complete, she would now send them away. But in this particular way, from the hospital, she said she knew because she felt, oh, so you actually came to come to take my husband. So off you go. So she sent her away from the hospital. So now the thing about men who don't have control, they don't stop. They don't stop. And this is also why I said any man who lacks control of his male organ, as a wife, as a woman, you know when you're in, no matter how much your husband tries to pretend, women, you know. So once you know that this is the weakness of the man may be good in other areas. He may be an excellent father, he may be an excellent husband, he may be good in other areas. This is his weakness. As long as you decide to stay back, as long as you decide to tolerate that aspect of his weakness, don't allow your tolerance to destroy the whole family. And the only way you do that is to keep an eye. Don't keep female housemates. Don't keep, on no circumstance should you employ female housemates. Don't give the telephone number of your husband to your female friends to say, oh, go and meet him, he will give you a job. Don't leave your sisters or your nieces or your best friends in the house and then you travel away and say you are going on a business trip for 2, 3 days and these female people are in the house. What it means is that you already know the weakness of this man. You will be setting him up to fail. Because if at the end of the day, he ends up sleeping with these people, when you come back and you find out about it, you're not going to be happy. It's going to cause a lot of problems and altercations between you and that man, which might also lead to divorce. What if he impregnates your niece or impregnates your friend or impregnates your daughter? So since you already know that this is his weak point, and you've accepted it by remaining in that relationship, please don't help him also by trying to put some safeguarding techniques in place. Don't set him up to fail. Don't set your philandering husband, don't set him up to fail. Even for those who you might think that, oh, they are so disciplined, they are so godly, they will never do anything like that. My advice will be careful. Never say never. Men have a weakness. And I mean, when I say men, I mean all men. All men have one weakness, and that weakness is sex and women. This is why you see pastors who are involved in scandals because of sexual immorality. This is why you see prime ministers, you see presidents, you see chief executives controlling conglomerates. The only thing that brings them down, sex and women. And some of the women themselves, they know, so they come prepared. Some of the women, they can target a man to bring him down. Somebody was telling me of a story of this couple that they're always doing lovey on social media, posting their love. And even in the community, everybody knew them. One girl actually set out to say, okay, all this love is all fake love. I'm going to go to this man, I will seduce him and he will fall. So she actually took her time, went to the man, seduced the man, and the man fell. And she went boasting about it around the community to say, oh, don't mind him, all this fake love and everything. He's not faithful to his wife. He's not faithful to his wife. You understand? So some ladies will intentionally, purposefully plan to go to a man to seduce him because they are so sure that the man is going to fall. They know. So it's better you don't set the man up. Don't set your husband up to fail. If you know his weakness, try and help him. And I said the weakness, 100% of men have that weakness. Only out of that 100%, 10% of that 100% decide to discipline themselves, either because they have had a bad experience, which almost cost them their job or their life or their marriage. So they decided to intentionally not fall into trouble. But you see the remaining 90%. You see the remaining, then out of that 10%, maybe 5%, maybe they are eunuchs. They are having a erectile problem. And the remaining 5% have decided to say, this thing got me into trouble the other time. I'm not going to do it anymore. Or maybe they have seen somebody who suffered trauma, emotional trauma, psychological trauma, maybe their mom or their sisters, and they have decided that to say, you know what, I'm not going to be sexually immoral. I will discipline myself. I will control myself. So never underestimate the weakness of a man when it comes to sex and women. Never ever underestimate. So once you are aware, a lot of times we deceive ourselves. When you are telling women, oh, I trust my husband. Oh, he's a born-again Christian. I trust my husband. He would never, a housemaid, a dirty housemaid. Who doesn't trust her own husband? Be there. Be deceiving yourself. If you set a man up to fail, he will fail when it comes to issues of sex and women. It's better for you, don't go there. It's better for you, don't try him. It will fail and you will regret it. So when the time comes, don't cry. Haven't you heard of, if you go around the whole world, everything that is happening regarding sexual immorality, look at the percentage. Look at the percentage of people who are pedophiles. Compare. How many women pedophiles have you seen that is reported? How many? How many how many women have you seen who left their husband to run after 25 years or 30 years of marriage, to run away with a younger man, to go and start a family all over again? How many have you seen? How many women have you seen that are sleeping with their male secretaries? So if you have to, the thing is, we have overlooked all these things, the weakness of men for so long, and it's causing a lot of strife, causing the level of divorce is increasing, causing a lot of women to end up in psychiatric hospitals, causing people to be heartbroken, because nobody has actually sat women down when they are growing up to say, this is a pattern for men. How do you help them? How do you help them? How do you help your husband? You are there deceiving yourself. Oh, my husband can never have anything to do with a housemaid. Leave your housemaid in that house. Keep going on a journey. Keep traveling. It's a matter of time. Your husband will sleep. Your husband will sleep with the housemaid. He will sleep with the housemaid. He will. In my subsequent videos, I'm going to tell a story about how an Opel actually took a woman's husband. An Opel actually took a woman's husband. In my subsequent videos, I'm going to talk about that true life story. So don't tempt a man. Don't you dare tempt a man. Now back to that man that kept on impregnating. There was one of the occasions the wife came back from work earlier than expected. She came through the back door of the house. Lo and behold, as she entered, who did she see? Her husband and the housemaid. And the man was just banging from behind. And they didn't even notice when she came in. And she stood there. They didn't notice. So she went and now tapped the man to say, what is this demon that has possessed? What is your problem? Every housemaid I bring into this house, must you sleep with them? Look at even this particular one that doesn't even shower. I have to remind her to take a shower. This one that smells. You look at you again. Look at what you are doing. He now turned and said to her, yes, leave it. I like it like that. I like that raw, natural smell. I'm tired of your sophistication. That's what he said to his wife. That he's tired of the wife's sophistication. I like it. He likes it raw. He likes that smell. That horrible fish smell. That rotten fish smell that he liked. That's what he enjoys. The smelling armpit and everything. That he's tired of the wife's sophistication. Tired of your sophistication. He was not sorry. He just walked off as if nothing happened. Do you realize that later, right from when their daughter was 8 years old, this same man now started sleeping with his biological daughter? So this is why I'm saying, don't think that your daughters are spared the trauma of sexual abuse by a man, by a father or a stepfather who has no control over his male organ. It's just a matter of time. One day, he will pounce on his daughter or his stepdaughter. So the moment you know that this is a weakness of the man that he cannot control, you keep an eye. Speak to your daughters, speak to your stepdaughters. As a matter of fact, for the stepdaughters, the moment the man moves into the house, let them have a hinge at the back of their door so that as they're sleeping at night, they put that hinge so that anybody that comes and pushes the door, obviously, he won't be able to wake up. It won't be able to go into the room. As a matter of fact, a smart woman, she actually said to me, she had to buy this child monitor. You know, this child monitor. So when each time she had a relationship and everything, and to protect her daughter from her previous relationship, she had this, this child monitor. She put one, and then so that any movement, anything that happens, anybody that goes into the daughter's room, she will be alerted. That's a smart woman. How many women actually have that wisdom? They will just see someone and say, "Oh, he can never do it. Oh, what will he do?" No, it is a weakness. It is a weakness. It will also save your relationship. It will save you the headache. It will save you the damage that you end up like that man and your ignorance will end up doing to that child. So please prioritize whenever you are in another relationship. One of your priorities is to make sure that the children from your previous relationship they are taken care of. Don't overlook them or take undue advantage of them just because you are now in a new relationship. And if you have been affected, if by any means you've been affected by most of these issues that I've raised today on this platform, contact me. If you have a story you want to share, we would like to hear your story. Send me an email at kokoli11@yahoo.co.uk. kokoli11@yahoo.co.uk. If you want us to hear your story, to talk about your story, so that other women and other families, even men, they can learn from your experience, you're always welcome to contact me, and then we'll talk about this. If you want to be anonymous, if you want to remain anonymous, that's fine, that's good. We just want to use the story to help people on the platform and all of that. So there's no problem with it. Make sure you contact me, and then I would obviously take I will listen to your story, and then we'll put it out there to help to empower other women. And in rounding up, as I always say, if you are a pervert, an abuser, if you're a man and you're watching this video and you're a pervert, you're an abuser, you are staying in that family, you're staying in that home, you're now married to this woman, and you feel comfortable sleeping with her and sleeping with her daughters, the law is onto you. The law is unto you. It's only a matter of time. It's only just a matter of time. They are like they say, every day is for the thief, one day is for the owner of the house. It's only a matter of time. The law is unto you, and then you threatening that child, telling her that is your little secret, and then if she discloses it, you are going to eliminate her and her mother. The law is unto you. If you don't stop, one day, soon and very soon, the law will catch up with you. If the law ends up not catching up with you, remember karma. Karma sometimes, uh, karma knows your address. It doesn't matter how many addresses you change. Karma one day will come knocking on your door. Karma will come knocking on your door. So have this in mind. Also for women, be on top of your game. It is your parental responsibility to make sure that you protect your children, the best interest of your children. Nobody is saying you shouldn't remarry. Nobody is saying you shouldn't be with that man, but be careful. Also, when you actually leave your daughters in care of their step fathers, be careful. Before you're able to do that, make sure you have empowered that daughter of yours. Make sure she's at that point where she understands what abuse is. Make sure she's at that point where she understands what inappropriate behavior is. Make sure she understands where nobody should touch every part of her body that belongs to her, that part that should not be touched. Make sure you have taught her all of that. Make sure you have taught her also what incest really means. You can also go make a Bible reference in Leviticus, refer to the book of Leviticus and teach her what the Bible says about incest and why it is important and why it is an abomination for her not to sleep with her stepfather, or indeed, even in some cases, her biological father. If you don't teach a child about these things, when they grow up to become adults, they will not know any difference. It is not automatic that every child knows the difference between right and wrong when nobody indeed has actually taught that child. That is why you see, even with some adults, they don't say anything wrong in sleeping with a married man. They don't say anything wrong in sleeping with the same man who is sleeping with their mother. They don't say anything wrong because nobody has taught them. So always be there as a mother to teach your children, to carry your children along, and to keep an eye on your children. Be careful the people you bring into your home. Be careful. Like I said, a good way to start would be to get a hinge at the back of your daughter's door so that when they're sleeping at night, they can just put that hinge. Nobody comes in. As they push it, there will be a resistance, so they're not able to come in. Once they hear that sound, the abuser will run back. So put that hinge as another form of protection. When you have guests in your home, in extreme cases where you allow guests in your home, in the night, 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., wake up, go around, make sure that your children are intact, that they are okay. You can just tiptoe, make sure that they are okay and everything, shut the door and all of that. Put all those things in place. It's just a form of protection. It doesn't show that you are aware or you are paranoid. The rates, at which people's life are being destroyed by sexual immorality, it cannot be overemphasized. It's nothing to do with being weird or being oversensitive or being paranoid. So there's a parable that says that the toad does not run in the daytime except there's something that is pursuing it. And then it is also indicate the bird. The bird's child was asking the mother, why do we fly without perching? Why are you teaching me how to fly without perching? And indicate the bird the mother bird said to the child, because men have learned how to shoot without missing. So we have to fly without perching because men have learned how to shoot without without missing. So when we keep flying at that altitude, obviously they're going to miss their shot when they shoot at. But when we perch, they might wait for us to perch and they will shoot and they will get us. So be careful. Be careful. Keep an eye on your children. Empower them with information. Feel free to discuss with them and give them that opportunity to be able to also feel free to come to you to discuss such intimate issues with you. Also, before you get married to that second husband of yours or to that partner of yours, let there be open discussion. I hope you understand that. Obviously, I have two daughters. You are sleeping with me. You have nothing to do with these daughters. Don't be shy to discuss these things. It also gives the person a headway to understand that that these things are possible. So also it helps also to help him to control his male organ. So let him know that it's a no, this is not acceptable. It is incest. So I hope you've been blessed. Please share this video as much as possible. Share. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. life class with Kate Okoli. We discuss everything. This is a life class. We discuss everything about life here on this channel. We discuss about the law, how to protect yourself under the law, with particular reference to the UK law most times, because I'm based here in the UK. We discuss relationship with friends, with family members, with your husband, with your wife, with stepfathers, stepdaughters, and all of that. Every relationship, because you know that we as humans, we are social beings. So we crave for positive, a healthy relationship. So these are some of the things that we discuss on this platform to help people and also to learn from the mistakes of others so that we can try to amend our ways in order for us to live a happy, healthy, successful life. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching to the end. Please share, and watch my other videos on my studio. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye-bye.